Marco del Foro Económico Mundial, estamos con Randall Stephenson, él es el CEO mundial de AT&T. Queremos agradecerle mucho que tome esta entrevista para el financiero Bloomberg Televisión. Randall, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Thanks for talking.
I'm glad we moved to English. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no, please. We can do it in Spanish if you wish. Randall, how's everything for you in Mexico? We understand it's been a tremendous year for you, 2016. I'd like to ask you, how would you characterize your Mexico operations? Are you satisfied so far?
If you had gone back to the beginning when we made our commitment to invest in Mexico and looked at what our plans involved, building a nationwide network, we said by end of 2016 we would cover 75 million people with an LTE, very advanced network. We would build out distribution and we begin growing. We have exceeded every expectation. The network is operating beautifully. We cover well in excess of 75 million people in Mexico. Our distribution is very, very good. Customers are growing. They're coming to us very aggressively, and the customer response and perception of the service is very high. So I'm very satisfied with what we've done so far.
Financially?
Financially, it's been on track. Obviously, the peso has devalued more than we had anticipated, but candidly, we don't think much about those things in the long run. We feel very good about Mexico, and the financials are right on track with what we expected as well. Actually, we've invested a little more than we had anticipated coming in. We're having more success, so we've invested more capital, but I have no concerns with that. I'll invest all day long as we're getting results.
How long do you think it'll last, the investment strategy?
Well, our objective is to be completed with the primary network build, nationwide coverage, by 2018. So this aggressive capital investment will go through 2018. But obviously, as you know, in the world of mobile telephony, you're never finished. Right. And investment is a pretty steady thing when you're operating in this industry. And I like to tell people, if you want to know how much we're going to invest after the network is built, take our revenues, multiply it times 15%. It's not very complicated. That's how much you invest. So it'll be a significant investment stream into the future.
You recently changed your director in Mexico. It was a recent move, right? Like last month, right?
Last month.
You have this Kelly King. Why him, and what are the priorities for him from your standpoint as a CEO?
So Thaddeus, who is the original CEO of our Mexican operations, great executive, and his charge was to build a new business. And that's really what he did. He stood up a new mobility business in Mexico, and he's the one who built out the distribution, he and his team, and he did an amazing job. In fact, he did such a good job, he's been promoted to one of my most senior executives in AT&T. He now runs a business that has in excess of $70 billion of revenues. A very large business that is now runs. And Kelly, whose job is to kind of finish the deal, if you will, right? Complete the build and keep the business momentum going forward, has a long history of operating these kind of businesses in the United States. And he's a very seasoned executive, very gifted executive. And so Mexico is very important to AT&T. Thaddeus is one of my most senior executives and somebody we have a lot of confidence in. It speaks a lot that we take an executive of that capability and that experience and put him in Mexico.
Did you perceive during this year, 2016, that your competitors in Mexico moved towards what you were trying to make in terms of as a reaction? No,
we had every expectation that the more success we had in Mexico, the more aggressive our competitors would be. And that's you see that anywhere in the world. And América Móvil, they're very good competitors. They're very aggressive competitors. And so there was no surprise that they would respond to what we were doing in Mexico.
What about Telefónica?
Same thing. I mean, we know Telefonica. We operate in markets where they are throughout Latin America, and we fully anticipated that they would be aggressive as well. That's actually, if I'm in Mexico, if I'm a Mexican, That's the beauty of what has happened. AT&T has come into the market. We've invested aggressively. We think we've built the best network in Mexico. I'm sure that our competitors would argue that. But we've built a great network. We've come in with some great value for the customer, and it's caused pricing throughout Mexico to come down. That's the value of having good, strong, competitive environment. That's the value of what these new reforms in telecommunications have brought the customers in Mexico. It's brought lower prices, better quality. That's what you're looking for.
Last year, you told me in this very same room that you had great confidence on the telecom reforms because it was on a constitutional level.
Correct.
Do you still have that confidence after all this year? I guess you do, because of what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, the reforms were instituted into the Constitution, which gives you confidence that they have endurance. Now, those reforms, from a mechanical standpoint, are up for review right now. I believe in February those will be updated at some level, and our expectation and hope is that these reforms will be continued, because AT&T has built out a great network. We've built out great distribution. We're adding customers, but we came to Mexico. The top competitor in Mexico had 68% share of mobility. A couple of years later, they have 66% share, okay? So it's not as though everything is fixed and done. So we think it's very important that these reforms continue into the future, because they're just now beginning to have the impact and the effect that the Mexican public and the Mexican consumers were expecting.
Randall, I think you're aware of what's this great level of anxiety in Mexico because of what's going on with the U.S. I understand you met with President Trump recently.
I did.
President-elect Trump.
Last week.
So what do you think we can expect in Mexico from your industry, from your company, in terms of the new relationship that should be established between the Mexican government and the U.S. government, and on the impact that might have on your business?
As it relates to our investment in Mexico, I don't envision that it will have much of an impact. We are, as most people know, the largest investor in the United States of America, not in telecom. In any industry, we invest more in the United States of America than any other company. And we're investing aggressively in Mexico. Obviously, a lot of the plans that the president-elect has articulated as it relates to Mexico and trying to modify some of the trade agreements, that's causing some volatility in the market. We don't really worry about short-term volatility. We're in this for the long term. We view Mexico as a great investment opportunity for us. It's a great benefit for our U.S. customers who travel and do business in Mexico. It's a great benefit for our Mexican customers who travel to the U.S. to have a seamless experience in their telecommunications. And so we don't envision this will have much of an effect on our plans in Mexico at all.
But President-elect Trump might say we want the benefit to be probably for the American community, not for the Mexicans. Do you think so? Or after you had this meeting with him, do you have a sense that he might also have public comments like he has had on other industries like the automotive industry, or not?
Yeah, I don't know how the president-elect will react or what his comments would be. I don't worry about that. What I told the president-elect is that AT&T is committed to the U.S. We invest more than anybody else in the U.S. And in fact, the policy proposals that he has established, tax reform, improving regulatory environments in the United States, those are all things that, if enacted, would allow AT&T to even invest even more in the United States. And so I don't envision that the issues that he is currently engaged in with Mexico and trade in general, it's broader than Mexico, just his agenda on trade, I don't envision it has any impact on AT&T's investments in Mexico.
Randall, I attended CES a few days ago in Las Vegas, and I listened to one of your executives talking about the IoT business, which is it seems to be very important. And I'd like to ask you, how would you describe your migration towards this huge business opportunity, not only in America but also all over the world?
Internet of Things, which is we call it IoT. We think it's one of the next great opportunities in telecommunications. Our expectation is that there are few things that we will wear, carry, interact with in our home that is not connected to a network at some level. And it involves everything from the automobile to a light sensor in your home. I mean, it covers a wide array. We've been investing in this area for a number of years now. And we have been very aggressive with the connected car and have had a lot of success in getting cars connected in the United States. And in fact, we're doing very well with virtually all car manufacturers. We think this opportunity is really big, and it's big beyond just the United States. We think Mexico is going to benefit dramatically from this. It is a global business for us. In fact, we now connect all of the Maersk, which is the large international shipping business. All of the containers on the Maersk ships around the globe are connected and have connected devices on them that tells Maersk where those shipping containers are on the globe at any moment in time. It tells them what the temperature in those containers are, and it gives them metrics and information about the cargo that they're shipping around. And that's just an example of what's happening. We have these kind of applications that are being deployed throughout the world, and we're very, very excited about what the Internet of Things is going to bring.
Do you think it'll be like different rates of adoptions in different geographies?
I think every geography is going to look to this as a way to improve how cities operate. So think about smart cities. In fact, we had a panel here in Davos about smart cities and the ability for cities to have their police officers connected to a network at any moment in time. And when a pistol is unholstered, that it triggers a camera to be activated. I mean, those are opportunities for cities to behave and to operate smarter, to drive down cost, to save lives. Think about traffic monitoring, the ability of a city to actually, Mexico City particularly, to begin to understand what the traffic patterns are because of devices that are connected, or even people who are carrying smartphones. We know what the traffic patterns look like. And so these connected cities will be able to change traffic patterns and so forth without building big infrastructure. And if you can do that, it saves a lot of money, it saves a lot of capital, it improves in terms of energy consumption, it improves the environment because there's less emissions from automobiles. So there's just a lot of add-on impacts from this. So I think cities all around the world are going to be aggressively moving to connectivity, Internet of Things capabilities to take advantage of all that it has to offer.
Yeah. Randall, I understand you can't talk about this AT&T and Time Warner deal a lot because you are expecting the regulators to have their decision, but what are your general expectations on that deal, and what impact, if so, would have that in a country like Mexico?
We're really excited about the acquisition of Time Warner. Time Warner may not be well known outside the United States, but they're a media and entertainment company. They own Warner Brothers Studios, which is, we believe, unquestionably the best content library and content creator in the world. We think they stand alone in that regard, and they have such classic movies that we're seeing now come out, including Sully and Harry Potter, and they have some great franchises. They also own HBO. And I know HBO is very popular in Mexico as well. So Game of Thrones, the Silicon Valley, and having that content under the AT&T umbrella. And then Turner Networks with TNT and TBS and Cartoon Networks and great family lineups and NBA coverage and so forth. So we bring all of this great media and entertainment. No, don't forget, under Turner is CNN. So great media and entertainment content that will now be paired with our mobility business in a way where we can actually begin to bring that content to our customers in very unique and different ways. And a lot of the Time Warner content is enjoyed in Mexico. Right. The ability to pair that with our mobile business in Mexico and begin to bring to our customers in Mexico this unique content on their mobile devices. We're really excited about this. We think it's going to be a significant change in the industry. We think it will be a preview of where the industry is going. The ability to actually integrate social media into this content is very exciting to us. So we're really excited about it. As you mentioned, we're in the middle of the approval process. The deal has been filed with the Department of Justice, and so we're going through that process, and we expect to close the transaction by year-end this year.
And finally, more on a personal note, what do you think is the future of journalism, taking into account that you'll own CNN, all this Internet of Things environment that will change actually the world? What do you think is the future of journalism?
I don't think journalism is going to be any more immune from disruption and technology than telecommunications. I think in the United States we have witnessed what this disruption might look like when a candidate for the President of the United States uses social media to, one could argue, go around traditional media and can communicate directly with the voters. It was fascinating for me to watch. And I think the implications of that are not inconsequential. I think they're rather significant. And I've been having some dialogue with journalists here this week about what the implications of that are for journalism. And I think journalism is going to have to adapt. I think news gathering, news delivery is going to have to adapt to this and begin to think differently about how they approach the consumer of news and media. And so I don't think we all know yet what the implications of this are, but I think we all believe that they are somewhat ground-shaking and profound. And that all of us that I'm about to be in this industry, in this business, I'm giving a lot of thought to it. I think we're all going to have to begin to think differently about how we approach the consumer with the content that we're producing. Great content is still being produced, great content is still being demanded, but it's going to be consumed very differently. That's what we have to get our head around.
Right. Randall, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you. Continuamos.